Hi there and welcome back, dear friends and deep thinkers. Today it's Razorback pack time, and it's going against the boars of the Kazuari. It's a survivor challenge. The boar, stranger to fatigue and despair, knows only to struggle until the very end. Aumaua boar has no comprehension of defeat, and in death still rages. Endure, and you will be victorious. Good luck. So, we have a couple of piglets here. That seems very tame. I'm just going to look up what would be the best against boars. Boars are an own category, as you can see here. The Razorbacks are the highest level. We've encountered them in the wild. You can see they're kind of weak to piercing. And the Grand Razorback as well. So piercing is the way, and maybe deflection, so they're relatively easy to hit. But they have high hit points and they have low will. So we'll see what we can do with that. I'm generally not relying on anti-will spells at this level because, to be honest, the toughest encounters always have, and you've seen that, immunity to criticals, things like that. They have some weird immunities, immunity to interrupts, immunity to this, immunity to that. So if you have these spells that only change like mind state or only are about mind control and so on, and if you take on the wrong opponent, always think about it, it's blind, right? Then you have a problem. And we're going to try out the Arbalist here, I think. So we'll see. If we'll try out the Mechanical Marvel, if that will make sense. Why the Mechanical Marvel? Because, yeah, we have that skill. It's piercing damage. And we just want to try out an Arbalist. Just because it's cool. Just because that's the only thing. Like, I'm not sure if we should make it legendary. Probably not. Probably not. Frostseeker's probably also very good, but this thing is it has advantages, it has disadvantages, but in the end you want to go for it. You want to go for it. Just to try it out. So it's a little bit of a risk, but it's also just fun to try these things out. And always looking around so that everyone has something piercing, some piercing weapon readily available. And yeah, usually that anyone has like mostly piercing is a very rare thing. Mostly it's or weakness to crushing, that's most often the case. Then sometimes slashing, and weakness to piercing is very, very rare. But that's it about the boars. The boars are special in that way too. They're not only usually formidable opponents and can charge around, like they're the warriors of the animal class. They're also weaker against piercing, I guess. So we can go full pierce. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. Now you might think that there might be a crossbow, right? Like a yellow crossbow, a legendary or some superb crossbow, unique crossbow that you can find there. But no, actually, I haven't found any crossbow yet. Crossbow would be great for Cailvassa because she can interrupt with that without using any ability. And the best thing is when the arrows or the bolts jump once more, like from the skill that we have, then these will also interrupt. And if you fire multiple bolts, then each of these bolts has a chance to interrupt, or will destroy one concentration, like until interrupt is there. So there's very often the case that you have like the damage split up into three bolts or arrows, and if you interrupt with that, also with an ability, then you'll just have a very, very nice result that sometimes decreases concentration like up to 2-3 points even, and then interrupts on top. That's just very effective and beautiful. You can see that that's how we can use the Arbalest now, which is kind of bad actually. So we'll see how that can work. I mean, if you're going for the Arbalest, it's really rather a blackjacket thing. So position yourself perfectly and then go for one shot of the Arbalest. And then you have it effective. But other than that, it's not really that effective. We're concentrating now on one piglet first. As you can see, we have made our way like to an edge here. And for some reason, the other pigs won't reach us yet, at least. They won't reach us yet. And they will also only reach Adonan, which is really not bad, as you can see. Adonan is just impregnable. Unimpregnable. And if these piglets stand together that way, like the obvious choice is to go for area damage. But there's a big but, and you will see that soon as one of the piglets is close to death. What happens now? Yeah, you'll get an even bigger pig and a more dangerous pig that is going on there. I think the one up there was kind of charmed, I don't know. So what you want to do is you want to take it step by step, right? You want to attack. You want to attack a piglet, then attack the sow that spawns from it, then go for the next piglet and so on. So that's basically the best strategy, because the piglets don't do so much damage. You can wait for them you can just stand there and take the hits of them. It doesn't really matter. The bigger ones, they mix it up. The bigger pigs definitely mix it up. They have a good chance to give you some trouble at least. Even if you position perfectly, they have some abilities that can lead to you getting thrown around, basically. And so the best thing to do here is go for the Razorback style. Because otherwise, if you go for a piglet, then the piglet will die, and then you will have two Razorback sows attacking you. And that's a problem. Or maybe not, but it may be a problem for you to have more than one of these big pigs out there. And we don't know, maybe there's another twist to it. Maybe there's another wave, which we had. So we're going to look closely to the Razorback sow and see what happens with it. Switching around often now, so we can attack the sow, because that was the theory that I developed while playing that. And boom, here you go. So you get the Grand Razorback as the finale, and that thing is a lot stronger and can also, I think, push people around or throw them down. Charge around like mad. We have experienced that. It's not a complete killer, but it's definitely making trouble, and you should take these on one by one. So there's no point in trying to destroy all the piglets first, then the next stage first, and so on. You have to focus one piglet, then one normal sow, then one Grand Razorback, and then the next piglet. Once you have seen that work, you know that it's just the most effective method, because it leads to the Grand Razorbacks and the sows not having much time to damage you. Of course, there's always the problem that you have unintentionally some piglets may die. From an attack, from a chill frog, from some area damage. They may die and spawn another one. And well, that's fine. As you can see, as long as you keep formation, as long as you stay true to your formation, true to your strategy, you can also survive 2 or 3 sows. I'm not sure about 4 or 5, but 2 or 3 are definitely manageable, and that's why we're doing that. Now there's another other one that's died, and you can see that these pigs are also growing bigger. So there's a chance that they cannot even attack you, because if you're staying in the right formation like I do, like you have basically a wall before, then they can attack you. But here, with the special ability of the Great Razorback, it can charge through. And especially here you can see that these walls are only a disadvantage for you. They will not really protect you. They will protect you from animals going around, but essentially that Grand Razorback can just stand behind that and attack you relentlessly. So it's just very important to focus them down, one by one by one by one. And to be honest, we are mostly doing the Arbalest for fun. It's not really that it does so much damage. The Frostseeker bow, our other bows, are probably a lot better than that. And you can see it focusing on Cailvassa as well, which is a little bit unfortunate for her, but ultimately it is what it is, and we will survive probably. So we're getting attacked from quite a few sides, and we'll see how good we can make do with our theory. Like, damage the big one, take that down, and it will become easier. Because currently we're very occupied in keeping us safe and sane and everything, and getting the buffs up and so on, and less about damage. And that's why in turn-based you should definitely go for like fast mode combat. Because now that you have that strategy, it's just about executing the strategy. There's nothing real surprising about that. It's just executing what you've learned perfectly. And that's what we'll do, right? Sometimes react to what they do, like this charge can irritate you, can irritate one of your party, can make you lose a spell, things like that. All in all though, this points to a critical thing in the game. Not only should you have a couple of damage types ready for any situation, you should also be able to change your combat style between area damage and focus damage. And I think focus damage is the more important thing, because you can do a lot with focus damage when you reach a good position, a defensible position like here. Area damage is very, very effective if you have such a defensible position as well. But ultimately you only need good focus damage to survive. And the area damage you cannot really do effectively when you're in the middle of the park and everything is running towards you. So you need a defensible position anyways. You cannot just stand in the storm, basically. And for that reason, focused damage, and more than that, sustainable focused damage, is the trump card in this game and in this difficulty. You want to be able to focus with your whole party on one of the monsters, so you can take them down one by one, because that's the quickest thing to do, and that's what will stop most of the damage coming into you. As a second option, you should have at your disposal some area of effect damage. It's easiest to do with magic, but there's also other things. You have seen that Cailvassa with a Frostseeker bow can do quite a lot of damage in a big area, because it has an area effect, and it also has multiple arrows that then get multiplied by the ability that gives even more multiple arrows. So it's just basically the best bow, if you want so. If you're really unafraid of the damage, you can also just ignore and always go for the weakest opponent first. And in general, that's a good strategy, to go for the ones with the least hit points first. You don't know, though, which ones have how many hit points. You only know that from the Cyclopedia, but if you play blind, you only know it afterwards. You know afterwards how many hit points have these things. So what can be my strategy? If there's a ton of low hit point swarms, then go for area damage, even on your own party. But if you have very, very sturdy ones, then you need to focus damage, and you can try to use debuffs. Otherwise, like with low hit points, with masses, with generic enemies, debuffing them just doesn't really work, because it's over too quickly. So who do you want to debuff? You want to debuff the MVPs of the opponent. You want to cripple, you want to have some magics on the nature's mark, whatever helps you hit is probably the best thing you can do. What a fierce that fight is, eh? What a fierce fight. And we're fighting on and on and on, and you can see that we've repositioned as well to make things a little bit safer for our ranged guys even. And in that, we're doing quite fine. Even looking like the pigs are fighting each other, right? It's just a cool thing to be able to adapt there. So you don't have to know the Crucible challenges. Yes, they are tough, but you don't have to have like an uber equipment to exactly do one thing to beat them. Because that's kind of not such a motivating thing, and usually they've done that very well. Okay, in the mega bosses, that's really, really hard, right? The mega bosses are just another level of difficulty. But you can avoid them, you can totally ignore them, it doesn't really matter. It's cool to do them, but only really because they also don't really have any story to them. So it's not so cool for people who just want to enjoy the story, and mainly the main story. But you can seek for it, and one day maybe you'll find it. And that's what's what it's developing into very often. It's just that everything is repetitive. You repeat the strategy until you've won. Yeah, they're beautifully done. I mean, they're glitching a little bit with a wood there around there where its head is hanging over, the pig's head is hanging over, but it's all in all, it's just an enjoyable experience in the Crucible. Even though you can cheese some fights if you want so. Now look at that, there's still 2 leftovers, and we're just attacking this out. Like, we are going our strategy step by step. It's a good strategy, one by one. Really getting it on, and you can see that when we have very, very high scaling, it's really, really hard to take these opponents down. How many rounds they need, even if you just pound on them, even without defending, like they have. Yeah, it's just crazy. Here we're going for the, I think, last Grand Razorback. And to be honest, after you figured it out, the fight is not that interesting. So you should really optimize for survival and for DPS. Going around here, but it of course has no chance, and it's of course only a simulation, as you want to say. Yeah, we're stepping it up, and finally. Will that be enough? Oh, not yet. It's at the point where you just hit attack, hit attack, hit attack, hit attack, hit attack. And that's really the spirit of the survival challenges, that you just don't give up. Sweet, sweet, sweet. And we've won it. We've won it. So the last piglet is cracked. Like the piglet pinata. And now we're going for it again, and again. So we've repositioned perfectly again, and now we're just a little bit boring, taking it down. It's important to have one to the front and one to the back to flank to get that bonus. And then you want supporters directly at the side. So the last big one has spawned, the last Grand Razorback. Oh no, not the last. There's even one more piglet. It never stops. Like, that's the sign of the Survivor challenge. That it really, it feels like it never stops. It's just Getting through and through and through and through and not giving up. And that's the essence of it all. And to survive it, you should just keep it simple and save resources for when things go south. When things don't go south, you don't really need like anything. And you can manage it so that you don't need much. At least in these endurance trials. That is a very common thing, and it's also a very good thing for us. So we're fighting and fighting and fighting on, and the next Grand Razorback needs to go down, and then the Piglet, and so on and so forth. And you can see that after a couple of the pigs are down, you can distribute otherwise as well. So you can have the shots that you want, even if you use an exotic weapon like the Arbalest that will give you, in the case of the Arbalest, we have like a line of damage, which mimics some spells, but this is really uncommon. It's and we have to say that Lord Paw is contributing so much. Like, look at that. I mean, he did 60 damage in that round. That's pretty great. I mean, even like, even Ketil, even Kevaver is doing about the amount of damage that Lord Paw does. Very, very often it's about in the 50 to 60 to 70 range, and that's what Lord Paw can do. It's just crazy. So we have the last one, and they usually start with some kind of stance, and if they don't grow out of it, then in this stance you'll have problems, for example, to ban people. So let's go in there. And you can see that the clouds and the sun have just a beautiful pattern that emphasizes the beauty of these Razorback pigs here. It's really a nice work of art. We're blinding, we're grazing, but all in all, you can see that the weather effects play perfectly with the Grand Razorback. It's just a beautiful and there we did it. The last one has fallen. The enemy was defeated. And we are victorious. If a pack of our chosen cannot survive your wrath, then perhaps nothing can. We've done it. We've done the Razorback challenge. Thank you for watching, and happy gaming to you. We'll see each other soon in the next challenge. And what will that be? The Animancer's Folly Endurance Trial. That's a special one. Looking forward to it. It's crazy. Animancer experiments that have gone wrong. Cool. Have a great time until next time, and happy gaming. This is Immanuel Khan signing out. See you soon, and happy gaming.